The alien ship appeared above Earth without warning. It was massive, larger than any human vessel ever built. Captain Jin-Ho Kim stood on the bridge of his warship, the Indomitable, and stared at the view screen. The alien craft gleamed silver against the darkness of space. "Sir, incoming transmission," said his communications officer. Jin-Ho nodded. "Put it through." The screen flickered. A creature appeared, tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. Its voice came through the translator as cold and mechanical. "I am Velmar, representative of the Galactic Council. You will listen carefully." Jin-Ho kept his face calm. "We're listening." "Your species has been observed. You have achieved faster-than-light travel. You have established colonies beyond your home system. This expansion ends now." Velmar's eyes were like black glass. "The Galactic Council governs all civilized space. You will submit to our authority. You will cease all military construction. You will provide 40% of your resources as tribute. You will accept our guidance in all matters." The bridge crew went silent. Jin-Ho felt anger rise in his chest, but kept his voice steady. "And if we refuse? You have 30 of your rotations to comply. If you refuse, we will apply corrective measures. This conversation is complete." The transmission ended. Jin-Ho immediately contacted Earth Command. Within hours, Admiral Yuna Park called an emergency meeting. Military leaders from every nation gathered in the war room deep beneath Geneva. Yuna was a stern woman with sharp eyes. She had lost her younger brother 5 years ago when pirates attacked a mining colony. The Galactic Council had ignored Earth's pleas for help then. She would not forget. "They demand we bow," Yuna said to the assembled officers. "They threaten us if we refuse. Does anyone here believe they will stop at 40%? Silence filled the room. Everyone knew the answer. President Hyun Choi joined the meeting by video link. He was an older man who had once worked as a negotiator during the Asian water wars. He understood bullies. "I need options," Hyun said. "We fight," said Yuna simply. "Can we win?" asked the president. Commander Minho Bayek, head of intelligence, stepped forward. "We don't know enough about them, but I have scouts ready to gather information." Dr. Sora Lim, the brilliant physicist who had discovered Earth's unique faster-than-light drive, spoke quietly. "Mr. President, our technology is different from theirs. We achieved FTL through quantum entanglement drives. According to Council databases we've intercepted, they consider this method impossible. We have an advantage they don't expect." Hyun leaned back in his chair. "How long to prepare?" "They gave us 30 days, Yuna said. "We need every hour." That evening, President Hyun Choi addressed the world. Billions of humans watched as he stood before the cameras. "My fellow citizens of Earth," he began. "Today, we received a demand from beings who call themselves the Galactic Council. They order us to submit. They command us to surrender our freedom. They threaten us if we refuse." He paused, letting the words sink in. Humanity has faced tyrants before. On our own world, we fought dictators and oppressors. We bent the knee to no one who demanded it through threats. Some of you ask what we should do. I will tell you what we will not do. We will not surrender our liberty. We will not trade our children's future for temporary safety. We will not bow. Across the planet, people watched. Some were afraid. Many were angry. All understood what was coming. In orbit, Captain Jin-Ho Kim returned to his ship. He looked at the stars and wondered how many other species had received the same ultimatum. How many had submitted? "Not us," he whispered to himself. "Never us." The Indomitable moved to join the growing fleet. Yuna had ordered every warship to Earth's outer colonies. Shipyards that usually built cargo vessels now worked day and night on military craft. Dr. Sora Lim barely slept. In her laboratory, She analyzed every scrap of data about Council technology. Her team worked to turn their scientific breakthrough into a weapon. She hated it, but she understood necessity. Commander Minho Bayek launched his reconnaissance missions. Small, fast ships slipped into Council space using stealth technology. They had to learn everything about the enemy. On the 15th day, Council spy satellites detected unusual energy signatures from Earth's colonies. Their automated systems flagged the readings as weapon construction. The report went to Velmar. He dismissed it. Primitive species always rattle their weapons before submitting. They will comply. On the 20th day, Captain Hana Shin of the science vessel Horizon made a crucial discovery. Council shields operated on a fixed frequency. Dr. Sora's quantum technology could disrupt them. "We can hurt them," Hana reported to Yuna. The Admiral allowed herself a thin smile. "Good." On the 30th day, Velmar's ship returned to Earth orbit. He expected their surrender. Instead, he received a transmission. President Hyun Choi appeared on screen. Behind him stood the flags of every nation on Earth. "Representative Velmar," Hyun said calmly, "we have considered your ultimatum carefully. We have debated and discussed. We have reached our decision." Velmar waited. The human would surrender now. They always did. Hyun looked directly into the camera. His voice was firm and clear. "No." The transmission ended. Velmar stared at the blank screen. Then he began sending orders. The Council would teach these humans the price of defiance. Above Earth, Jinho Kim prepared his crew. Around the solar system, 300 human warships moved into position. In the outer colonies, defense grids powered up. The war had begun. Commander Minho Bayek guided his stealth corvette through the darkness between stars. His ship, the Silent Arrow, carried 6 crew members on the most dangerous mission of their lives. They were deep in Council territory now, watching and learning. "Another patrol passing on our port side," whispered his pilot, Lieutenant Soman Park. Minho watched the massive Council warship drift past. It was 3 times the size of any Earth vessel, bristling with weapons. But it moved slowly, predictably, like it had never needed to dodge or hide. "They're arrogant," Soman observed. "Good," Minho replied. "Arrogance makes mistakes." They had been observing Council space for 10 days now. What they discovered made Minho's blood boil. The Council wasn't a peaceful government. It was an empire built on conquered species. On the 4th planet of the Talvar system, Minho's team landed in secret. The cities were beautiful but wrong. Advanced buildings stood beside primitive dwellings. The people who walked the streets moved with heads down, eyes empty. A local resistance fighter contacted them. Her name was Yunji, a Talvarian with blue skin and silver eyes. She met Minho in an abandoned warehouse. "You're from Earth?" she asked in accented but clear standard language. "Yes," Minho said. "We're gathering information about the Council." Yunji laughed bitterly. "I'll tell you about the Council. They came to our world 80 years ago. They said we needed guidance. We believed them at first. By the time we realized the truth, their weapons were at our throats." She showed him data files on a stolen device, records of 17 subjugated species, worlds stripped of resources, people forced to work in Council factories and mines, any resistance crushed without mercy. "They call it peacekeeping," Yunji said. "We call it slavery." "How many of you resist?" Minho asked. "Millions across the occupied worlds, but we have no weapons that can fight their ships. We hide and survive and wait." She looked at him with desperate hope. "Are you going to fight them?" "Yes," Minho said simply. "Then you're the first in 800 years. The Council hasn't faced real war in longer than any living being can remember. They've forgotten how." Minho returned to his ship with valuable intelligence. The Council had vast resources but no recent combat experience. Their tactics were old, their strategies predictable. Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Hana Shin studied captured Council technology in her laboratory aboard the science vessel Horizon. What she found surprised her. "It's advanced," she told Dr. Sora Lim over secure transmission, "but it hasn't changed in centuries. They perfected their designs long ago and stopped innovating." "Stagnant," Sora said thoughtfully. "They have no reason to improve, no competitors, no threats." "Until now," Hana agreed. Sora worked with her team around the clock. They had discovered something crucial about Council defensive shields. The shields used a specific frequency pattern that had been standard across the galaxy for hundreds of years. It was powerful and effective against all known weapons. But Sora's quantum disruptors operated on principles the Council had never encountered. Their impossible technology could create cascading failures in the shield matrix. "We can crack their defenses," Sora reported to Admiral Yuna Park. "But we need to get close enough first." Earth's intelligence officer Taiho Ryu worked from a different angle. His team had been intercepting Council communications since the day Velmar arrived. The encryption was strong, but human cryptographers had centuries of experience breaking codes in wartime. On day 23, Taiho's team succeeded. The Council's military channels opened like flowers in the sun. What he read made him call an emergency meeting. "They're preparing a punishment fleet," Taiho told President Hyun Choi and Admiral Yuna. 200 warships, the largest battle group they've assembled in decades. They plan to arrive on day 31, right after our deadline expires. "Their intention?" Hyun asked. "To make an example of us. Complete destruction of our military. Occupation of Earth. They want other species to see what happens when you refuse the Council." Yuna's expression hardened. "Let them come." "Admiral," Hyun said carefully, 200 ships versus our 300. Can we win?" "We don't need to win," Yuna replied. "We need to make them bleed. We need to show the galaxy that the Council can be hurt. After that, everything changes." She pulled up holographic displays of the solar system. "We've been preparing for this. Our outer colonies aren't just building ships. We've constructed an integrated defense network, automated platforms, minefields, sensor arrays. The Council will enter a kill zone." Minho's intelligence reports helped refine the plan. Council ships flew in rigid formations, perfect for their doctrine but predictable for anyone who studied them. Human tactical computers could calculate their movements and place weapons exactly where they needed to be. Back on the Talvar system, Yunji gathered her resistance cell. "I met the humans," she told them. "They're going to fight." An old Talvarian looked skeptical. "Fight the Council? They'll be destroyed." "Maybe," Yunji said, "but they're trying. That's more than anyone has done in my lifetime. And they left us something." She opened a crate. Inside were human weapons, simple but effective. Railguns, explosives, communication equipment. "If the humans can bloody the Council's nose," Yunji said, "we rise, all of us. Every occupied world at once. We make the Council fight on 100 fronts." Her people stared at the weapons. Hope, dangerous and fragile, bloomed in their hearts. On Earth, the final preparations continued. Dr. Sora loaded her quantum disruptors onto every ship. Captain Jinho Kim drilled his crews endlessly on the new tactics. Engineers worked until they collapsed, then got up and worked more. President Hyun Choi recorded a message to be broadcast after the battle began, regardless of the outcome. "To all who hear this," he said to the camera, "Earth has chosen freedom. Whatever comes next, know that we stood. We did not bow. And if we fall, may others rise where we fell." On day 30, Earth transmitted its answer. One word that echoed across the galaxy. No. In council chambers, the 5 elder speakers gathered. They were ancient beings, comfortable in their power. They had ruled unchallenged for so long that challenge seemed impossible. "Send the fleet," the eldest said. "Destroy their military, occupy their world, make them an example." 200 warships began their journey to Earth. Their commanders were confident. Their crews had never lost a battle. They expected easy victory. They had no idea what was waiting for them. The Council Armada arrived in Earth's solar system like a storm rolling over calm water. 200 warships emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Their shields glowed with power, their weapons charged and ready. Council Admiral Drexnor sat on his command throne and surveyed the primitive system before him. He had commanded fleets for 70 years and never lost a battle. This wouldn't be his first. "All ships, battle formation 7, he ordered. "Will destroy their orbital defenses first, then demand surrender." His fleet moved into position, textbook perfect, exactly as their doctrine prescribed, exactly as Admiral Una Park had predicted. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Jinho Kim watched the enemy formation take shape. Years of studying human military history had taught him one crucial lesson: rigid thinking loses to flexible tactics. "They're moving exactly as Commander Minho's intelligence suggested," Jinho said calmly. "Admiral Park, they're yours." From her command ship in orbit of Mars, Una watched her screens. The Council fleet was entering the outer perimeter. Time to spring the trap. "All ships, execute Ghost Protocol," she ordered. "Show them what humans do best." Across the solar system, 300 Earth vessels activated new technology. Their quantum drives created sensor shadows, making them appear in multiple locations at once. To Council sensors, 300 ships suddenly became 900. Admiral Drexnor's tactical officer shouted in alarm, "Sir, multiple contacts! They're everywhere!" "Impossible," Drexnor said. "Recalibrate sensors." While Council ships scrambled to understand what they were seeing, Earth's defense grid activated. Automated platforms that had been drifting dark and silent powered up. Thousands of minds, invisible until now, armed themselves. The first Council ship hit a minefield. Explosions rippled along its hull. Shields flickered but held. Then the second wave hit, and the third. The shields failed. Atmosphere vented into space. "All ships, evasive action!" Drexnor commanded. But there was nowhere to evade. The mines were everywhere, placed precisely in the paths Council doctrine dictated. Ships trying to avoid one field flew into another. Then Earth's ships struck. Jinho led the vanguard, 50 frigates using the ghost drives to confuse and disorient. They didn't fight like Council ships, matching formation to formation. They swarmed, they scattered, they attacked from unexpected angles. "Target their shield generators," Jinho ordered. "Dr. Sora's disruptors, maximum power." Earth weapons fired. The quantum disruptors hit Council shields and began their deadly work. The shields operated on fixed frequencies, perfected over centuries. But Sora's technology created cascading quantum fluctuations. The more power the shields drew, the faster they collapsed. A Council heavy cruiser found this out when its shields imploded, taking half the ship with them in a burst of energy. "What is happening?" Drexnor demanded. "Our shields are failing." His science officer had no answers. "Their weapons are using principles we've never encountered." Lieutenant Donghae Sung sat in the cockpit of his mech suit, waiting in the belly of an assault shuttle. Around him, 20 more suits stood ready. They were experimental technology, armored exoskeletons designed for boarding actions in space. "Donghae, you're clear to launch," came Jinho's voice over the comm. "Copy that, Captain. Boarding teams away." The shuttle screamed across the battlefield, dodging fire from Council point defenses. It slammed into the hull of a Council command ship. Magnetic clamps engaging, cutting torches burned through the armor. Donghae and his team poured into the ship. Council crew tried to stop them, but they had never faced humans in close-quarters combat. The mech suits tore through bulkheads and disabled weapons systems from the inside. "Bridge secured," Donghae reported 15 minutes later. "We have prisoners. including a council admiral. Back in the main battle, the tide had turned completely. Council ships were dying. Their perfect formations became chaos. Captains who had never faced a real threat didn't know how to respond to enemies that refused to fight by the rules. Earth ships danced through the battle space. When council vessels tried to engage, humans scattered. When the enemy turned to chase, Earth ships regrouped and struck from behind. It was infuriating, dishonorable by council standards. It was winning. Admiral Yuna coordinated from her command ship with cold efficiency. She saw the battlefield like a chessboard, moving pieces with precision. When council ships tried to form defensive positions, she sent mine layers to trap them. When they tried to retreat, she had fast frigates waiting. Dr. Sora watched from Earth, seeing her peaceful discovery turned into a weapon of war. Each council ship destroyed made her feel sick and proud in equal measure. They were fighting for survival, for freedom, but the cost was still measured in lives. "How many have we lost?" she asked quietly. 23 ships, came the answer. 1,400 crew. Sora closed her eyes. 1,400 humans who would never go home. But if they didn't fight, billions would live as slaves. On his flagship, Admiral Drexnor finally understood the truth. They were losing. Actually losing. To primitives who should have been easy prey. "All ships, emergency retreat," he ordered. But retreating required coordination, and the council fleet had lost all cohesion. Ships fled in different directions. Some made it to faster than light speed. Many didn't. When the battle ended, 147 council warships were destroyed or captured. 53 limped away, damaged and broken. Earth had lost 23 vessels. Jinho stood on his bridge looking at the wreckage. "Get rescue teams to the damaged ships. Ours and theirs." "Sir?" his first officer asked. "We're not monsters," Jinho said quietly. "Save everyone we can." The news reached council space within hours. Commander Minho's contacts made sure of it. The footage spread across every subjugated world. The mighty Galactic Council, defeated by newcomers, ships burning, admirals captured. On Talvar, Yunji watched the battle footage with tears streaming down her face. "They did it," she whispered. "They actually hurt them." Around the occupied worlds, resistance cells prepared. If humans could bleed the council, maybe freedom was possible after all. In the council chambers, panic replaced arrogance. The 5 elder speakers watched the battle reports in stunned silence. "How?" one finally asked. "They fight without honor," another said, "without formation or discipline." "They fight to win," the eldest corrected grimly, "and we've forgotten how." But the council could not afford to lose. They had ruled for too long. If one species could defy them successfully, others would follow. The empire would crumble. "Marshal the full fleet," the eldest commanded. "Every ship, every resource. We will crush Earth completely. This rebellion ends now." They had no idea that the rebellion was just beginning. 3 months after the first battle, the galaxy was burning. Commander Minho Bayek had kept his promise to Yunji. The weapons he left behind sparked uprisings across 12 occupied worlds. The Council's peacekeeping forces suddenly faced ambushes, sabotage, and coordinated strikes. Species that had been silent for generations found their voices again. On Talvar, Yunji led her fighters in a raid on a Council supply depot. They moved fast and struck hard, just as Minho had taught them. They seized weapons, medical supplies, and communication equipment before vanishing into the cities. "For freedom!" Yunji shouted, and her people echoed the cry. But Earth knew the real war was coming. Ambassador Rena O traveled to neutral systems, meeting with species who had never bowed to the Council. She offered alliances built on respect, not conquest. "We don't want to rule you," Rena told the ambassadors of the Kelvin Republic. "We want partners, allies, friends. The Kelvin leader studied her carefully. The council offers order. The council offers chains, Rena replied. We offer a choice. Some species joined Earth's growing alliance. Others stayed neutral, afraid of council retribution, but the seeds were planted. The galaxy was watching to see if humans could survive what came next. In Earth orbit, Admiral Una Park studied intelligence reports with growing concern. The Council was mobilizing its full military might, 2,000 warships from 5 elder races, the largest fleet assembled in living memory. She called a war council. President Hyun Choi attended via secure link, along with Captain Jin-ho Kim, Dr. Sora Lim, and engineer Ji-ho Kang. We can't win a direct fight, Una said bluntly. 2,000 ships versus our 400. Even with our technological advantages, the numbers are too great. Then we don't fight direct, Jin-ho suggested. We use the same tactics as before, hit and run, guerrilla warfare in space. They'll adapt, Una countered. They're not stupid, just arrogant. But they learn. Engineer Ji-ho Kang cleared his throat. I have another option. Project Ragnarok. He displayed schematics on the holographic table. Everyone leaned forward to look. What they saw made them go silent. It's a weapon that destabilizes stars, Ji-ho explained quietly. We could destroy Council home systems, end the war in one strike. Jin-ho recoiled. That's genocide, billions of civilians. It's survival, Ji-ho replied. If we lose, they'll enslave or destroy us. This guarantees victory. President Hyun Choi spoke up. If we use that weapon, we become exactly what we're fighting against. Tyrants who destroy anyone who opposes them. If we don't use it, Earth might fall, Una said. She didn't like it, but she was a realist. We need every option. Dr. Sora Lim had been quiet, thinking. There might be another way. Intelligence Officer Nari Song found something interesting in Council databases. Nari joined the meeting, a young woman with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. The Council uses ancient automated defense systems, she explained. They were built by a precursor civilization that existed before the elder races. The Council doesn't fully understand how they work, but they've maintained them for centuries. So? Ji-ho asked. So they're vulnerable, Nari continued. If we can hack those systems, we turn the Council's own defenses against them. No genocide required. Jin-ho nodded slowly. Can we do it? We'd need to physically access their command ship during battle, Nari said. Plant a virus directly into their network. It's incredibly dangerous. I'll do it, Jin-ho volunteered immediately. No, Una said. We need you commanding the fleet. Then I'll lead a strike team, said Lieutenant Dong-hae Sung, joining the meeting. My boarding specialists can get it done. The plan took shape. Earth would fight the Council fleet in Sol system, but the real objective was getting close enough to the command ship to deploy the virus. Meanwhile, Minho's resistance forces would attack Council territories, forcing them to divide their attention. Over the next weeks, everyone prepared in their own way. Jin-ho drilled his captains on new formations, trying to predict how the Council would adapt their tactics. He pushed them hard because he knew mistakes meant death. Una coordinated with the resistance movements, timing their attacks to coincide with the battle. Every Council ship diverted away from Sol improved Earth's chances. Sora and her team worked with Nari to develop the virus. It had to be perfect. One chance only. If it failed, Earth had no backup plan except Ji-ho's apocalyptic weapon. President Hyun Choi made the hardest preparation. He recorded messages to be delivered to Earth's citizens if he didn't survive. He updated his will. He said goodbye to his grandchildren, though they didn't understand why he held them so tightly. The Council fleet assembled in stages, 2,000 warships gathering at the edge of Council space. The elder speakers came personally to witness Earth's destruction. They wanted to see the rebellion crushed. Make an example of them, the eldest commanded. No mercy, No quarter. Complete annihilation. The fleet commanders bowed and prepared to depart. On Earth, people prepared too. Some prayed. Some spent time with loved ones. Some volunteered for the defense forces, determined to fight to the last. Children looked up at the stars and wondered if they'd still be free tomorrow. The Council fleet arrived in Sol system like a dark tide. 2,000 ships, bristling with weapons, shields at maximum. They had learned from their first defeat. This time, they used varied formations and kept sensors active for tricks. Admiral Yuna watched them come. All ships, battle positions. This is it. Jinho stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, his crew ready. We've fought tyrants before, he told them. We've won before. We'll win again. Donghae and his boarding team suited up. They carried Nari's virus on a hardened data core. Everything depended on them reaching the Council command ship. Dr. Sora watched from Earth's command center. Beside her, Jiho Kang had his finger near the activation switch for Ragnarok, just in case. President Hyun Choi broadcast one last message to Earth. Whatever happens today, we stood for freedom. We refused to bow. That counts for something. That counts for everything. The two fleets faced each other across the void. Human and alien. Freedom and tyranny. The outcome would reshape the galaxy. Admiral Yuna took a deep breath. All ships, engage. The battle for Earth's future began. The space between Earth and Mars became a storm of fire and steel. Captain Jinho Kim led his squadron through the chaos with precision. The Council had learned from their first defeat, but humans were faster learners. Where the enemy expected hit-and-run tactics, Earth ships formed into coordinated strike groups. Where they anticipated disorder, humans showed disciplined fury. Focus fire on their heavy cruisers, Jinho ordered. Break their formation. Quantum disruptors tore into Council shields. The technology that was supposed to be impossible shredded defenses that had protected the Council for centuries. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. But the Council had numbers. For every enemy ship destroyed, 3 more took its place. Earth vessels fell too, burning bright before going dark forever. Admiral Yuna Park watched the tactical display from her command ship. The battle was going as well as could be expected, which meant Earth was slowly losing. They needed the virus. They needed it now. Donghae, status? She called. Lieutenant Donghae Sung's voice crackled back through heavy static. Approaching the command ship. Heavy resistance. We'll make it! His assault shuttle screamed through the battle, dodging plasma fire and missiles. Council point defenses tracked his approach, filling space with deadly fire. The shuttle's armor glowed red-hot. 30 seconds to contact, his pilot shouted. Everyone ready, Donghae told his boarding team. 20 soldiers in mech suits, carrying humanity's hope on a data core the size of a fist. The shuttle crashed into the Council command ship's hull. Magnetic clamps engaged. Cutting torches burned through armored plating. Alarms screamed on both sides of the breach. Go! 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 Donghae led his team through the hole. They dropped into a Council corridor filled with armed guards. The battle was close and brutal. Mech suits against alien weapons. Human determination against centuries of assumed superiority. Donghae's team pushed forward. Every meter cost blood. Soldiers fell on both sides. But humans kept advancing, kept fighting, because failure meant extinction. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Minho Bayek's plan unfolded. On 12 occupied worlds, resistance fighters struck simultaneously. Yunji led the Talvarian uprising against Council military bases. Other species followed. The Council's leadership panicked. Rebellions everywhere. Their fleet engaged at Earth, systems failing. This wasn't supposed to happen. They were supposed to be invincible. Recall ships from the Earth battle, one elder speaker commanded. Suppress the rebellions. We need every ship at Earth to win, another argued. While they argued, Their empire began to fracture. On the Council command ship, Donghae reached the data core access point. Nari Song's voice guided him through the encrypted interface. Bypass the red circuits. Connect to the blue node, carefully, or you'll trigger security. Donghae's hands shook, not from fear, but from adrenaline. Council guards were closing in. His team held them off, firing down the corridor. "Upload starting," Donghae said. 30 seconds. "We don't have 30 seconds," someone shouted. "Then make them," Donghae roared back. The virus flowed into the Council's network. Ancient precursor systems that had protected them for generations became enemies. Automated defense platforms across the battlefield stopped targeting Earthships and locked onto Council vessels instead. Confusion rippled through the Council fleet. Their own defenses were attacking them. Ships that had been coordinating perfectly began firing on each other as the virus spread through their networks. Admiral Yuna saw the chaos and struck. "All ships, full assault! Hit them while they're blind!" Earth's fleet surged forward. The battle turned into a massacre, but this time the Council was on the receiving end. Their perfect formations dissolved into panic and disorder. On the command ship, the eldest of the Elder Speakers watched his screens in horror. Everything was falling apart. 800 years of dominance crumbling in hours. Captain Jinho Kim led a strike force to the command ship. His team breached the bridge and found the 3 Elder Speakers present, trying to flee. "Stop," Jinho ordered. They stopped. Ancient beings who had never known defeat stood frozen, staring at the human who had beaten them. Jinho felt the weight of the moment. He could kill them, end the Council's leadership here. But he thought of President Hyun Choi's words. "If we become them, we've already lost." "You're under arrest," Jinho said. "You'll stand trial. All the species you've oppressed will judge you." "You can't do this," one speaker protested. "We are the Council." "You are the Council," Jinho corrected. "That ends today." Across the battlefield, Council ships began to surrender. Some fled, others fought to the end, but most realized the truth. They had lost, completely, utterly. President Hyun Choi broadcast to the entire galaxy from Earth. "People of all worlds, the Galactic Council claimed authority over you. They demanded submission. They threatened destruction. Today, they learned that authority must be earned, not demanded. Freedom cannot be extinguished by threats." He paused, letting the words reach every planet, every species. "The Council is dissolved. Their leaders will face justice. But we do not seek to replace one tyranny with another. Earth extends an invitation to all species. Join us in a coalition built on voluntary cooperation. Come as equals or don't come at all. But the age of forced submission is over." On Talvar, Yoonji watched the broadcast with tears running down her face. Around her, her people celebrated in the streets, free for the first time in 80 years. Similar celebrations erupted across occupied worlds. Species that had forgotten what freedom felt like remembered. Some cried. Some danced. All looked to the future with hope. The war ended not with a final battle, but with a choice. The 5 elder races could surrender or die. They chose surrender. Admiral Yuna Park stood down the fleet. The victory was absolute, but the cost had been high. Earth had lost 93 ships, 4,000 crew members who would never see home again. "They died free," Jinho said quietly, standing beside her. "Yes," Yuna agreed, "and they made others free too." In the months that followed, the galaxy reorganized. The Galactic Coalition formed with Earth as a founding member, but not its ruler. Every species had equal voice. Decisions required consensus, not conquest. The captured council leaders stood trial. Representatives from every oppressed species testified. The evidence of their crimes filled archives. In the end, they were sentenced to life imprisonment, serving on the worlds they had enslaved. Admiral Yuna Park retired to spend time with her family. She had avenged her brother and freed a galaxy. That was enough for one lifetime. Captain Jinho Kim was promoted to admiral and given command of the Coalition Defense Fleet. His mission was to protect the new alliance without becoming what they had defeated. Dr. Sora Lim dedicated herself to peaceful applications of quantum technology. She had created weapons that won a war, but she wanted to build tools that won peace. President Hyun Choi served 2 more terms before retiring. He lived to see Earth become part of something larger than itself, a community of free worlds, allied by choice. Commander Minho Bayek became the Coalition's first ambassador to the Resistance worlds, helping former slaves build their own governments. Lieutenant Donghae Sung trained special forces for the Coalition, ensuring they could respond to threats without becoming oppressors. Yoonji became the Talvarian ambassador to the Coalition Assembly. She spoke for those who had been voiceless for too long. At the first Coalition Assembly, dozens of flags hung together in the Great Hall. Earth's banner flew beside them, not above them, equal among equals. Ambassador Rina Oh gave the opening address. "We are not here because one species conquered others. We are here because one species showed the galaxy that chains can be broken, that standing for freedom matters, that the strong need not prey on the weak." She looked around at the assembled representatives. The Council demanded submission. Earth taught the galaxy to stand. May we never forget the difference. Across the stars, species that had been enemies learned to be neighbors. Species that had been slaves learned to be free. And humanity, the newest addition to the galactic community, learned that being strong meant lifting others up, not putting them down. The age of the Council was over. The age of choice had begun, and in the end, that made all the difference.